Is that
Oh,
done?
there we go, and we're live. Happy Mental Health Monday, everybody. We have
Thank you.
D'Chyna Deen back with us today. Shep will be here in a minute. He got stopped by a train. Went a little late today, but that's just I don't know. We were just kind of talking about it before. It kind of feels like that's the way things have been going lately. Not for Shep. He's on a hot streak. He's doing pretty good, but definitely it's always one thing. Can you hear it? The plane potentially crashing to Earth right now.
I think so, but it's like a whistle. Is that what I'm supposed to be hearing? Like this kind of whistle?
Well, just
So yeah, I missed.
I'm telling you, I'm just waiting for the day.
That might be cool.
I don't think we really had anything specific to talk about today. Did you have anything on your mind uh, this time around?
Um, I think life is just changing. That's pretty much like the only thing I can think about. How fast things are moving. I think that's kind of what we were just talking about a little bit before, like how you're about to start filming and the different things that you have to do. I feel like I'm making a lot of different changes in my life and stuff. Trying to actually figure out the path that I want to take. I've always said I wanted to pursue entrepreneurship, but I've also been getting like these other, I wouldn't say like mainstream, but these other kind of like corporate options and career pathways and just kind of deciding. I've really kind of been turning them down. Because I feel like if I'm kind of getting those offers, I feel like that means that I'm on the right path. So building something for myself that, I can kind of have long term and that, I can kind of build up and bring other people into. I feel like that would be the best way. But then, you also feel like you're missing opportunities in the same sense.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely, in doing all of this, have learned the stress of trying to pursue your dreams and really try to stick to that, uh, despite what other people may have to say or different levels of support or even just getting in my own way most of the time is a big part of it. Uh, and yeah, the world is changing. I'm in the same boat a little bit of just trying to figure out what I want to do. Uh, because I know that I want to make movies and all that stuff. Uh, but I'm kind of like looking it in the face of the reality of the situation of what is going to be asked of me to do these sort of things and what it's going to take to get there. And just juggling with that, like, is that something that actually makes me happy? Is it something I actually want to do? Or do I just want to write? Like maybe I just want to write, maybe I
Right.
don't want to do the rest of this lights, camera, action bullshit that goes along with it. Uh, just a lot of stuff. Several years ago when I first started getting into Buddhism and stuff like that, um, that's when I really started questioning how much I wanted. Like, I'm one of those people who, since I was 4 years old, has always known I wanted to make movies, to be a part of movies in the entertainment industry. Um, and then, a few years ago was the first time I ever questioned that. But it's like, what do I do? This is all I know, you know. And it is. It's weird. It's weird to be at that crossroads of like, what am I? What do I want to do with my life? You know. Like my baby sister just graduated high school yesterday, and so she's kind of in that same boat as well. I think she at least knows what she's doing for right now, which is the most important for sure.
That's the best feeling where like okay, I don't really know what I'm doing for my future, but right now it's going okay. That's probably
Right,
one of the best positions to be in, kind of.
right, yeah. As opposed to right now, I currently just feel like everything might be okay, but everything also might fall apart at any given moment. So it's just that constant like just stress level.
Yeah.
But I tried to take today for myself. I tried to uh, put my phone in a drawer and just kind of did my thing all day, rearranged the house and stuff like that. Just try to take a day for me. Tried my best to slow shit down and just not think so much because
Right.
that's definitely, like I said, I think I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to that sort of stuff, for sure.
I agree. I think I'm the same way. My boyfriend tells me a lot, you need to slow down. You're running a marathon. I'd be like, well, I have to. If I don't do it, who else is going to do it?
Right.
If I don't get it done, no one else is going to have the same drive and the same passion about it. So I might as well just go ahead and get to it and get it done and not procrastinate about it. I think my biggest problem, I think I agree, I definitely am my worst enemy, but I feel like when I overthink, I feel like it's not me overthinking in the moment. It's more I'm planning, thinking about the what ifs and I'm coming up with ways to like to overcome some of those obstacles that may come my way. But then a lot of people are telling me, well, you're thinking too far in the game. Like you're not focused on what's in front of you right now. And then you're kind of like, BSing it. And
Mhm.
then I have to sit back and it's balance. I have to find that balance. And I think
Yeah,
that is so difficult to find.
yeah. Um, I definitely feel that just like the thinking ahead is mostly what it is for sure. Like with producing the series right now, we have so much work to do, and there's just the two of us. And Shep's got a whole bunch of other stuff on his plate as well. So and this is my field. This is the stuff I know. So I'm trying to do all the stuff that is the work of about at least 20, 30 people. And so I was telling my mom the other day that I could tell I was not slowing down. Like every moment I had where there was a break in something, I was immediately just I started doing something else. And when I finally would like lay down for the night or just stop for a moment, my mind just starts bracing on all the things that need done. I'm trying to like mentally put together these lists and everything and try to get everything straight and figure out like, okay, well, what needs to be done? How do we do it? And and it's like I've literally just spent my whole day doing this. So at a certain point, I find that thinking that much about something and planning that much for something usually works against us. I
Right.
joked earlier about it just feels like Chase and Shep are. It, it's just the way our show is ran. Like we're always going to be working down to the wire. Like that's when we do our best stuff because every single time we have allowed ourselves time to do something bigger, uh,
Mhm.
we just overthink it so much, and we find ourselves just hitting a roadblock quite a bit. We were going to film skits over the course of May on Fridays and stuff. And every time we got together on Fridays, like life would just happen. We'd be stressed, we'd be tired, and we did not feel funny. Like we did not feel funny. We were not trying to be creative. We were not trying to be funny. There was just nothing there. And everything that we had that we wanted to do, I mean, it's all good stuff, but it's going to take time. It's going to take, effort to make it
Right.
work as well as it could rather than just being like, yeah, we threw something together in 30 seconds. So, like you said, it's that balance for sure. It's definitely finding that balance of thinking ahead, but not thinking too far ahead.
So
Um,
when you start to feel like that, like what's most important to you? Is it, you know, not having to scale those ideas back, or is it, not having to move your due date? Because I feel like with me, oftentimes I have to choose between, okay, I have this great idea, but for me to complete it at this time, I may have to honestly scale it back and I won't be able to, kind of complete my vision the way I wanted it to. So I have to kind of mold this new vision in a way. How do you kind of choose between those two?
right. Um, Honestly, for me, it's a different thing. It's a matter of like I said, a lot of it I put on myself, and I just like I'm ready to prove to people that I know what I'm doing, sort of thing. And so it's one of those things where do I really have anything to prove to anybody? No, not necessarily. But I want to do this for myself. I want to be able to prove even to myself like I can do this. Like like I said, I've wanted to be a filmmaker since I was 4 years old. I know a thing or two. Like, and I've just been telling people it's about time that I quit acting like I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
and just kind of breaking away from that thought process of like people telling me, "Oh, well, this is how you can and cannot do things," and stuff like that, and just being like, fuck it, I'm just going to go at it. I'm just going to do it however I need to do it to get it done."
Right.
Um, with the case of this show, that is so much of the stress is just making sure it gets done and done well. I don't mind scaling back ideas. That's something that I'm going to have to learn as a filmmaker down the line, because that's just something that happens. That's just movies are constantly changing uh, from the time they get conceptualized to written to edited. Like they are constantly becoming different things throughout the entire process. So you definitely have to be willing to let things go. And I know that's something that I will have to get used to doing. Um, and even this time with the due date, I don't mind moving the due date if we can just get it done and have, uh, a good product. But Shep wants to hit the due date. He likes the gimmicks. I like the gimmicks too, and that's why we want to keep the due date.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out now. I do my cosmetics and stuff like that. So oftentimes I'm like, I want to have this many items in a set when I drop it. And then it's just like, no, right now that's just not possible. Like making everything by hand, I have to really perfect my craft.
Hmm.
I have to honestly, it's trial and error. Like honestly, making cosmetics is really just a trial and error. You can look up recipes and kind of try to imitate them. You can watch videos and, listen to directions and stuff like that. But really, it's just about perfecting your craft and not, I mean, I would say inventing new ways to do it, but just coming up with your own style of making it work. And I feel like that's one of the biggest things that I feel like I keep on running into is I'm trying to execute so much because I know that that's how it should be done and that's how I want it to be done, but I have to work harder and I have to push myself harder. And then that comes back to, you know, having the time. I think a lot of times I'd be like, okay, when I have the time to, or, when I find the time, but it's really just about making that time. Hey,
Hey, what's up?
how are you?
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing
Hey, we're
good.
good. We're deep in conversation at this point.
Don't let me interrupt. I'll tag in when I figure it out
Okay.
what we're talking on.
I'm like, hold on. Now I lost my train of thought. You guys know me. I'm a little sometimes.
Yeah, we all are.
But I forgot what I was saying.
Um, Shep, way to go. Come in here throwing off the whole flow.
That's what I was trying not to do.
It's definitely okay. I think we were kind of talking about like what is it like balancing our time, balancing, over overthinking and trying to make sure you can kind of produce your vision. I think that was kind of what we were talking
Yes,
about.
yes, that is what we're. Yes, that is what we're talking
You
about.
guys know I'm awful with my
I,
words
I
sometimes.
got distracted. Um, yeah, we're basically talking on just perfecting your craft. Thank you, thank you, Cassie. We're talking about perfecting our craft. And you were talking specifically about hand making everything and working harder.
Oh well, yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, like finding the time, not finding the time, but making the time. I avoid being productive with like with unproductiveness, and I'd be like, oh, I don't have the time, but it's just I have to push myself harder, and I actually have to I read this quote somewhere that said, if you can go work 8 hours for somebody else, you should be able to come home and work 10 hours for yourself. And that's kind of the mindset that I have to kind of put myself into is that I do a lot of work for other people and I do work in my community as well, but I feel like I'm not putting all of that time and the stuff that I know and really using my skills to perfect the things that I'm passionate about. And I think that's my biggest obstacle right now.
I vibe with that a lot, man. I think me and Chase, we kind of, I don't think it's a production issue on our side with it. Is we got two creative people, so we get a lot going all at once that we're like, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. So a lot for me, balancing time is like having to slow down. And even though we might catch a good idea or might think of something like, oh man, that really could be something, but it's like, okay, let's write that down. Let's get back to it. We got to finish going what we got going on right now, type thing.
I wish I had that second person, like that second mind that could kind of help me and kind of help me scale back those ideas and tell me, yeah, that's it. Like, go for it, run for it. A lot of it is,
You
all
know,
right, China, let's put it in a Word document.
Oh
I
yeah.
I agree. That's definitely how the show is feeling right now. It's definitely us, especially me, not watering myself down. As far as putting a show out there that's so raunchy and crazy. Uh,
I actually want to know more about it. I know we spoke about it briefly, but it was just so much going on. We actually didn't end up recording. So what, like, I mean, I know you guys have kind of got more into the planning process. So what is it kind of, or I don't know if you want to give any sneak peeks, so I don't want to like step on your toes.
I don't know, Shep. How much are we willing to divulge right now?
Of what we got working on in the background?
Right.
Of the summer camp series is what she's asking about.
I mean, so like we can speak a little bit on that. So obviously the summer camp series, we did our Easter, like our little 10-minute Easter short. And of course, me and Chase, after that, we were vibing and thriving and being like, yo, what's next? And it's like, we should try to do a series, like a legit 10 episodes type thing. So of course, a lot of this, it's a lot different because I've never done something like this. I don't think he's ever done something like this. So a lot of it is bouncing back and forth. There's a lot of it. The other day I was getting very stressed and shit, going like thinking in my head because like, hey, we're a month out. We got a lot of work we got ahead of us, but it's going and being able to go around him then and talking to him about this, and he's like, but we've got this going, we've got this done, we got this done, it's going here, and it's like, okay, we're a lot further along in this process than I'm like telling myself on a day-to-day basis. Like me, I'm like, if it's not done right now, we're behind type thing. So it's a planning process in this is a lot different than any other projects I've ever been in because there's a lot more people involved. There's a story. Yeah, there's a story involved. So it's probably, I would assume, not going to be filmed in order ish. Probably for the most part, I would think it will be, but I'm sure there will be some things that we either think of after the fact, like, oh, we should have added this in. Oh, fuck it, let's go back and record that real quick. We can, type thing, or so. It's been a different process, but I've enjoyed the challenge.
I have as well. And something we were talking about before you showed up, Shep, was that just the whole like you and I talking about like we are it as far as the roof on Chase and Shep show. Like no, there's nobody above us. There's nobody we answer to. So these times where we stress ourselves out so much, to hit a certain date or something, we're setting those things. We are the ones that are allowed to be lenient on ourselves, and I think we're both just those creative types of people that we aren't we aren't lenient on ourselves when it comes
Oh
to
no! Oh
things.
no!
And we're like, no, hey, like if it's not 4th of July, damn it, like but at the same time, I've as the scripts have been coming along, and I'm finally seeing it, what it's going to look like. It's something that like I would almost rather take the time. Like if we miss 4th of July, I'm not going to be upset. Like I said earlier, my biggest thing is making sure it gets done and it gets done well.
Right.
And even we could still make summertime. Like we're still gonna, because that's something thinking ahead. Like when the reviews come pouring in, at the end of the day, we're two dudes who have never done this before, and we're shooting an entire like limited series like in a month before it comes out. We're doing so much work in 1 month as two dudes that like fuck what anybody has to say when this comes out. When it comes out, we get to be like, hey, we did this and we enjoy it, and we did the very best we could. So if people want to talk on whatever else, I could care less. That's the big end game for that one, and we'll get better with every project after that.
Yeah, and then it comes in like a lot more goes into all this stuff because then you got this project this size and it's massive, but we all we both have our own individual lives outside of all this that we're doing. Being a dad and stuff on my end, working jobs, doing music and all this kind of stuff. So that's where this, trying to fit everything in time wise, it gets to be a challenge, but it's one of those things that especially like when we were doing things like back in March and April. And I think I even said this to him the other day. It's like, but once you get that machine running, it's like, it just, you can get that momentum and you get it running and just let it keep powering through, and you can figure out ways to fit everything in that you want to do and get that little bit of time for yourself, because that was always the one thing that I would slack on out of everything. It's like I'll give everybody else all the time I can and all this shit, and then go 3-4 weeks where it's like, damn, but I haven't had a day for Aaron yet, that I just sat back and did nothing. So
Right.
those are always the challenges to me. But
Yeah.
I think like especially like with doing the mental health Mondays and stuff, and how we've been talking about these kind of things, that's the biggest thing to me, is being communicating with like everybody that you're around and involved with in life, in all these sort of things. If you get that constant communication going, then there is no hiccups. There is no, man, I haven't heard from Aaron in 2 weeks. I wonder what the hell's going on with him. Maybe he ain't fucking with me no more. No, it's not like that. Keep in contact. It's like, no, I want to hang out. I'm just busy, man. I promise.
Yeah.
It's like, I will find a time at some point in time. Just please do not die between now and then, and we will hang out.
Right.
Pretty much is where I'm at in life. Like, just stay on the planet. We got it.
That's funny.
Something that keeps me going too with all this stress with the series is I just think of the feeling that both of us had when we were done filming Easter Sunday, and it was just magical. Like it was just all of this work, 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 stress, 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 and then just like the Shep took the words out of my mouth. He described it as getting in the car after a long day at an amusement park, and it's just like that's exactly how it felt. And I think of that, and I think of the bigger amount of stress that we're putting ourselves under, and I'm just like, this is going to be so satisfying. This is a weekend at the amusement park. We're getting in the car from after this, and
It's a whole week at Fright Fest, man. That's what I'm saying.
That is really, really cool. I like that you guys have a really good communication between each other, because I know like a lot of people, they miss that. They miss the part where, yeah, that's business, but people also have their own individual lives and stuff going on. Especially that you mentioned, being a dad. I think that's my hardest part. Being a mom, like sometimes I feel bad. I'd be like, I'm not spending enough time with him. I feel like, is he okay? Does he feel like he's getting enough time and that he's loved and that he's cared for? And like trying to find that really good balance. Even now, like trying to include him in the things that I that
Yeah.
I do. Like,
Yeah.
okay, mommy's making body butter today. Let's go. Like trying to kind of find that balance, I think has definitely been the hardest for me. But I definitely
It's a challenge.
how do you do it? Like, how kind of did you work it out? Because I think at first, like, I think a child is new to everybody. So, like,
Yeah,
how do
no.
you?
So my son's about to be 14 now.
Oh,
So
Lord.
so when he first came about, I was young. I wasn't ready to be a dad at all, and I sucked ass at being a dad when I first was there, because I was always about like 21, 22, 23, and then I got away from his mom, so I was single again. It's like I want to party with all my friends and do all this stuff. But luckily for me, it didn't take long to click. I think it was around 23. with me that it was just like, man, like I only saw him every so often at that time because he lived in Chicago. So it was like, do I really need to go party this week that he's out? Like, is it that, is that lifestyle that big of a deal for me to go out there and do that? I can't just wait a week. And I would. And a lot of my friends, they didn't like that. They didn't understand that because they didn't have kids at the time. So you lose friendships and stuff.
Yeah.
But the older that he got, the more it was like, because with doing music and stuff too was a big thing. Because we started playing a lot of shows and whatnot. So I'd have him on weekends, and I'd have been booked for a show that weekend. So it was a weird thing though, because it was just like, it wasn't like I'd still was spending time with him the whole day and whatnot, but I'd, go drop him off at like my grandfather's house or with my mom and be like, all right, dad's going to go do a show and whatnot. But I think it was the fact that he saw like, when I'd go to these shows and I'd go do the shows and I'd stay for the show or whatnot. So I'd get back and I'd go home and pick him up at like 1 a.m. But I was picking him up, like I wasn't drunk. I wasn't going to, I didn't have to go out all night. Or, he's with them, it's all good. It's like I still was picking him up and taking him home. He got to see that it was like kind of like a job at that point. It was a little bit different than just, oh, dad's out having fun doing his thing. And then now at his age in his teenage years, now it's more, we're vibing more on the fact that I can sit down and have those conversations with him. And with doing music, I've had a lot of weird conversations, good conversations, bad conversations with a lot of people. So now I can have those conversations with him on a level that I hope that he understands and he gets, and it's more open and honest than just telling him, you shouldn't do this or do that, or, oh, you got condoms in your wallet. That's fucked up. You're too young for all that, you know? And it's, I kind of show him like my lessons. Like when I listen to the music, he's jamming and stuff, and like, tell him like, hey, these guys, they're not doing what they're talking about doing. Like those videos, all that money that's in their hand, that's fake. You can go buy that money that looks real for music videos, and fake guns that look real, and gold that is, very fake and will turn your skin green, and it's like, you got to be smart. You got to really, I'm at the lessons I'm trying to teach them now is observing other people, like observing like their intentions in life, and like, the way that they're, why they're wanting him around him, in life, why his mom's wanting him around and living over there, or why his buddies, they're all getting into trouble and stuff. It's like, why are they doing that? What is their home life like though? It's like, so you can kind of see, the stuff I'm doing with the community and stuff, and it's like, I just try to take those lessons and relate them back to him.
Right.
And and like I said, he's got to see, we're doing all this stuff, mental health on point, every Monday and shit with me and Chase and stuff. So he's got to have that father figure around that's not going to go crazy on him when he messes up. It's not going to yell. I'm not just like, right when I get home from work, like, go do your own thing. I'm going to drink, I'm going to go out back and drink and make a fire or something and kick it. I don't know what those kind of guys do, but
Yeah.
like it's a hard balance. I think what helped me out with doing everything was just that his mom, he's lived with his mom his whole life. So he's stayed with her and is always visited with me. And even though there's times where my household was very much more stable for him, I never was going to pull that away unless he came to me and really wanted that.
Yeah.
So I could still go out and do this music and record and work in the studios and fuck around during the week, and then the weekends he came. But the one thing I do keep in mind is that at any point that can change. Now when he's 14 years old, he can choose at any moment, no, I want to go live with my dad, and my life will switch up 100%. But I think it would be for the better when that kind of stuff happens. I don't think it would be for the worse for either me or him.
It sounds so bad, but I would much rather have a 14-year-old over a 2-year-old right now. Like some of those, like, oh my God. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm fighting a mosquito. My
Oh, no.
like deepest and sincerest apologies. But like potty training and shitty diapers and mommy has to go to work. And it's just like, you know, you can't really explain things to them and
Yeah.
expect them to be like, yes, all right, cool, got it, let's go. Like, it's definitely like the patience. And a lot of
No,
people say
yeah.
this is the easiest part. I'm like, no, no, I definitely feel like when they're in their teens, I don't know why I don't have a teen, so I don't know, but I just feel like maybe having a teen is a lot easier because you can explain things to them. But I guess at that same time, like they're sneaky and they're hard headed, they're stubborn.
They are. They
Yeah,
think they know everything, and
yeah,
but it's like that's the thing though. It's like I realize that. So when I have these conversations with my son, I tell him that. It's like, you know what, and you're gonna listen to this, and you'll understand what I'm telling you right now, and you're gonna still go make the same mistake, and that's fine, man. I was like, you got to learn that lesson on your own, and I'll be here for you to tell you like how I bounce back from it. But no, the early adolescent, the toddler stages, no, they are very hard to deal with because it's like almost it's like because they're at that stage where they're starting to learn and
yeah.
do a lot, but they don't know how to communicate that to you, what they want, what they're feeling, what they're thinking. But so it's like, the immediate frustration from them, and then you're frustrated because it's like, I know something's fucking with you right now, but
Right,
I don't know what's fucking with you right now, and you can't just be like, this, my stomach hurts, I gotta poop or something like that, and you can be like, all right, that makes sense, I get that, or I'm uncomfortable right now, I don't know, and you're like, okay, that makes sense.
right.
So no, I don't know, because I vibe with the kids, even the little kids. Even today, I was vibing with the little kid. Like, no weird shit, Chase. I know that one time I said some shit that sounded weird, but but I like him. I like him being a little bit older to where you can explain it to them and show them these lessons and talk to them about that shit, and then encourage them, watch them change, watch them be a little bit better and realize their mistakes and stuff. I like that too.
Yeah, because I'll be bored. I like, it's going to sound so terrible, but like, I'll sit in the bed with him. We'll probably watch SpongeBob, and I'll be like, that's funny to you? Like, how's your day going? Well, let me tell you about my day. And it just be like, I'm trying to carry on this one sided conversation. But it's just like, I also hope that maybe that'll help his development.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know you have to kind of really talk to them a lot. You have to, even though they may not talk back, but every day he kind of surprises me. He may say a new word, but he's so stubborn. Like, I'll be like, how old are you? You're two, and he knows how to do it, and he'll just look at me and he'll just start crying. Like, he's also really stubborn too, so it just be like, all right, dude, we're gonna try this again later. Like, but he's really interesting. He's
No,
really,
yeah.
really smart. He loves his blocks and he loves building. That's something that I feel like maybe he's going to be into a little bit later, is like his building blocks and construction and stuff like that. And he picks up on things. Let me not say that on live, but he's a copycat. Like, he will not say the things that you want him to say, but
No.
he's going to say everything else. Trust and believe. He's going to say everything else.
Yeah. No, my favorite when my son was that age, that's when me and his mom was like splitting up, and there was like I went to Europe for 2 months, and we came back over like Christmas, and then I went back for 7. And during that like month over Christmas that I was back, me and her were like split up and separated, but I was still staying at the house because that's where I had to go stay. And like me and him would be vibing out on the couch watching cartoons and stuff, just kicking it. And she'd walk by, she'd be like, damn it, Aaron, you take the trash out. And like she'd go, and I'd just be like, fuck that shit. And I just laugh like, yeah, I ain't gonna do what you want me to do right now. Like, nah. And then I left and I went back out, like I said, and she sent me an email one night. And, oh, I was laughing so
Not an
hard.
email.
Yeah, she's like, I don't know where Carson got this, but the other day, I was telling him to like, Carson, put your diaper on or something, because he kept taking it off, and she's like, he just looked right at me and he goes, fuck that shit, and just started laughing. And I was like, oh yeah, I don't know where he got that from. Well, that's funny.
I
It's like,
think it's
oh
really
shit.
funny. My son's name was Carson too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, my kid Carson James.
It's my sister who just graduated.
Yeah.
Carson.
Hey, we got
There you
three
go.
Carsons in the
Well,
room.
Carson party.
No, for real.
We'll have to get them all together to hang out.
Ah, that sounds terrible. If they're like my Carson, I'm good. I'll pass.
Sounds awful.
my
No.
kid, my kid's really dope. I've been blessed. He's really taken like my personality, and that's just like I don't like to inconvenience anybody if I don't have to. Like honestly, like if I have to inconvenience somebody in the slightest bit, I'm like I feel like shit.
Yeah.
And one day when I got off work, my grandfather was watching my son, and I went to pick him up, and I'm like, "Yo, where's Carson at?" And he's like, "Oh no, ever since he got here this morning, he just went in the other room, and he's just been laying down." And I asked him if he wanted something to eat, and he said no, he's just been in there laying down. And I walked into the side room, and my son's in there, and I'm telling you, it just looked like he got done running like 3 miles, just dead sweat, and he just looked like shit. And I was just like, "Yo, dude, are you feeling okay?" And he's like, no. And I was like, dude, why didn't you say anything? He's like, I just didn't want grandpa to have to go out or get any medicine. And it's like, bro, like, if you don't feel good, say something, please. Like,
Right.
you're not going to inconvenience any of us. So he's a real sweet kid. He's
Oh.
getting, he's getting in his teens, so he's getting to be a little shit, but that's okay. Still love him.
Oh.
Still love him.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll fit him into our summer camp thing just so I can slay him and be like, now, fam, you don't get that act together. That shit's gonna be real life.
No, teens are assholes. My mom like blatantly called me an asshole one day. Like, and I was just
Okay, my
like,
mother just yesterday called my two sisters dicks and me a little bitch. So
Mom was going hard yesterday.
mom was going hard yesterday.
I honestly think parents be sick of our shit. Even as adults, I tell my mom all the time, can
Absolutely.
you like live your life? You don't have
Yeah.
babies. Be free. Like, just go. Live your life. Relax.
Good
I have to
little
tell.
segue off of that is, you're talking about not wanting to inconvenience people and everything like that. And I, I know for a fact, we do Mental Health Monday every Monday all year long. And I know I hold back on a whole bunch of stuff because I don't like bumming people out. I don't like bumming people out. I don't like contacting my mother because I know she's the person who I always go to with stuff. And so when I am having hard times, I don't want to call her because I don't want to continue to put that on her. And I've gotten to that point with a lot of people. I just got the same lecture from like 3 different people this past month of like, don't do that shit. Like, you're not okay. Like, you need to let us know. Hit us up. My one friend is like, I live down the road. Like call.
Right.
And it's just one of those things. I too don't like inconveniencing people. I think that's a big thing with people with mental health issues. Like I said, like all these past like couple, like I don't know, 2-3 weeks, I've been rough as far as depression goes. Uh, but I, like so many people, we don't want to reach out to people because we don't want to negatively affect other people. You have
Right.
those other people who will have no problem doing that, who will absolutely just dump on you and just like let you have all the negativity. But I think it's worse for those people who have mental health issues who don't talk about it because they don't want to make it other people's problems. They don't want to be a burden and shit like that. It's definitely a stigma that even myself, I need to work on.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people suffer from that for sure.
I think in like kind of in relating to that, I feel more people don't people don't see it when you tell them the first time, because everyone has their own way of expressing themselves and getting people to, kind of understand what they're feeling on the inside. And oftentimes people they don't see it, they don't see those signs. They don't see it when you sit there and you tell them and you explain it to them and you kind of break down to them. They don't see it that first time. And then when it becomes too late, that's when they all of a sudden be like, "Oh, I seen the signs, like I should have known." But I don't know why there's always such a disconnect there.
Yeah, that's how it always seems to be. Whether it's something on a personal level or like on a national level, as we've seen, like it always takes like the worst possible thing before people start being like, "Oh, actually, yeah, we should probably
Right.
pay attention." Um, and that's a rough reality of life. It's kind of what we were talking about with John a couple weeks ago about those hard moments in life being the moments that you grow out of. It's one of these things where like we don't want things like that to happen. Like we don't want people to get to a point of suicide before people realize like, oh, this is how serious mental health is, or have another person get shot by the cops or whatever uh, before we're paying attention to the problems in the world. But it always seems to take something like that, and
Yeah.
so it is that bittersweet thing of at least people are listening now, at least the change is being made, but at what cost most of the time. So it would be great to get to a point in the world where we could be more diligent about you know getting ahead on these things. I know not too long ago I was thinking on doing some sort of episode talking on sexual assault, just because it was something that was weighing heavy on my heart, just hearing stories uh, of people that I was close to, and it's one of those things that I'm like, I shouldn't wait around for it to happen to one of my sisters or somebody very close to me before I start advocating for it. I advocate for it now. Like the awareness needs to be made for these things because it's a problem. It causes mental health issues, trauma, in a lot of people. And it's something that I try to speak out about before it gets to a place like that. It shouldn't have to take something so monumental for people to get up and get moving on something.
But at the same time, I feel like a lot of people maybe like I don't think they want help, or maybe they don't know how to ask for help, or maybe they don't even recognize that it's a problem at all.
True.
And I feel like that's kind of like, at least in my experience, one of the biggest disconnects that I've, kind of come into when I run into certain people. It's like you kind of have the weight on your shoulders, but at the same time, like, I think sometimes some people, they make, what is it, a mountain out of a molehill. Like some things, I'm not going to say anyone's problems are, oh, I'm sorry, anyone's problems are worse than the next person, but
Right.
some things just aren't that serious. Like some things you can really, if you take the time and you step back and you really like just think about it, it's something that either isn't that big of a deal or that can really be fixed. Either, I think sometimes you just really have to humble yourself to get over certain things and to let go of that pride and that ego. Because, like, at least in my opinion, and just a lot of people that I've run into, it's really just, a pride thing. A lot of things, it's not that serious. Even if you've done something wrong, you can make it right. You just have to be willing to. And sometimes you just have to ask for that help, even if it's that you don't know how. But a lot of people aren't willing to take that step. And I feel like that's one of the first steps, in my opinion. Well, of course, like accepting it, that you need help and that this is a problem, and then figuring out how to go about doing so. And I'm not like blaming anybody for that, but it's just like that's something that, a part of being aware, you also, people need to know how to ask for help, how to communicate. Because if you can't, everyone is just different. If you are trying to communicate to someone that you need help, but you're kind of being around the bush, you're really like not fully communicating that, it can kind of be lost in translation.
Yeah. And we've definitely glamorized a lot of it within society and romanticized a lot of that shit too. You got people out there being like, I want a relationship like Joker and Harley Quinn, and stuff like that. And it's just, no. I believe we've talked on that on here beforehand.
I think so.
Like, nah, it's like, no, you don't. Like,
Right.
that's not at all healthy. Like, no.
Right.
And it's, a lot of it's that. So I think that's where, like when you were speaking earlier on how it takes multiple times of reaching out to somebody for them to be like, oh, there is a few people out there that do use social medias and stuff and go out there, and you can't tell if they just need a little bit of attention at the moment, you know what I'm saying, or if they're really like messed up and
Right.
need somebody there with them. So I think that plays into it a lot because everybody just assumes, because I'm, like I've went through my depressions and stuff, but on the outside, and if I was, out in the world, I'm still happy and boppy, and you wouldn't really be able to tell unless I wanted to like open up to you and be like, yeah, like I do think that life kind of sucks. So, but then it's like when you do that, when you are that person and being like that, and then you do say that to somebody, like they're like, yeah, they laugh like, yeah,
Right.
okay, life sucks. Cool. Like, no, it doesn't, man. You're just, but I've you gotta like you said, I think a lot of it is that ego and stuff on your own. You got to do a lot of growing on your own and a lot of learning on your own.
Mhm.
And a lot of people don't know how to take a step back and analyze the situation and realize it's not life and death.
Right.
You're gonna fuck up. And you're gonna do it plenty of times. I've fucked up. I've done some funny ones though, and then it's like at the time they sucked, and I was like, oh my god. But then it's like you let like a year go by, and then it's like, oh shit, now I can talk about this and laugh, and it's funny. It's like cool, and that's like to me, that's where you've already grown. Like you've grown past it.
Yeah. When I did finally, tell my friends that, hey, I haven't been doing so hot, and I've just been feeling real lonely and depressed and blah blah blah. Like, they came over and they hung out, and we hung out for a while. We talked, and in talking, because a big thing for me as well is like I don't like reaching out until like I know what the problem is that I'm trying to solve, and sometimes I just don't know what the fuck is going on. Sometimes I just don't know like what the issue is. I mean, that's just something that comes with the territory with depression and anxiety. Sometimes you you just have no idea what it is that has you in such a frenzied state. Uh, and so I don't like reaching out to somebody because I can't. I feel like I can't talk it through because I don't know what I'm talking through.
Right.
Uh, but sometimes I find that
Might be
in
that.
those moments, like then, when I do finally reach out and start opening up to a friend, uh, the answer finds itself. I start talking things out. I'm like, oh, that's what the problem is. I just needed to stop a minute and quit trying to figure it out so hard. And and that's it's all in the Buddhist stuff. It always talks about as soon as you stop trying, it'll start figuring itself out.
Right.
And I've definitely found that to be true. But in talking to her, I'm the one that kind of got myself out of the funk because I'm just talking, and then all of a sudden I was like, well, my bounce backs are always like top notch. Like whenever I like, no matter how hard I go down, the bounce back on the other side is always like so much comes out of it, and I've always been that kind of person. Um, and in having that conversation, I hadn't even thought about my bounce back. I was in such a place where I wasn't thinking about bouncing back. I was just thinking about being fucking sad, and and as soon as I said that out loud, I was like, oh yeah, like that's on the way. Like my bounce back is on the way. And my friend even said, like, even you saying that just now means that you're already on your bounce back. I said, asking for, can we throw this up or is that too long? Oh, it's the
No,
whole.
you got it.
Asking for help needs to be encouraged more in society. When being an adult is equated with handling things on your own, that stigma can perpetuate loneliness and despair when community is an important aspect of mental health.
Bada boom. Bada boom. Mic drop. Boof. I'm with it.
I got mixed feelings about it. I get it. I absolutely agree with it, but at the same time, I feel like people become so dependent on other people. Like they hell like are looking for their mama in other people. Like
Right.
you
True.
have to you have to create your own. I mean, you have to be able to stand on your own. And I understand everybody I mean, like realistically, everyone isn't supposed to make it. Everyone can't be on the top. I know that. I know that that's just factual. But one thing that I feel like I really promote is, being independent. You have to be independent first, or you're always going to be dependent upon someone else. And what if that person is dependent on someone else who's dependent on someone else? Like, it's going to create a just really negative domino effect. And I just feel like,
I can definitely agree with that. Too. Well, I agree with both points because I do think it needs to be encouraged to ask for help. Like I think that uh, so much of, especially like like my parents' generation of just like and above that are just very like uh, yes, exactly. Independent people can't ask for help. It's a both thing, not a
I just think
either
like the way I sum it up is you can ask for help, but nobody's going to hold your hand and walk you through it.
I'm so sorry.
But you know what I'm saying? Like you can ask for help. No one's gonna go grab you by the hand and walk you through everything. Like
Right.
so like asking for help is definitely um like your first step to do it. But like from that point forward, it does become on you because I've definitely came across people that knowingly had mental health issues that
Mhm.
they would not take the steps to go and see their therapist or take their medicine and stuff like that. And there's nothing that me as an outsider I can do. I can't physically hold them down and force medicine down their throat. That's no way to live a life every
Right.
day doing something like that. I can't figure out ways to trap them and drop them off at their therapist office. And if it took me taking them there and going inside with them and waiting in the office while they talked, okay, but that's cool, but that's a conversation we have to have, and that has to be a decision that they make and they want to do. They have to
Yeah.
come out and say that. So it's like, again, like I get both of the points. I think that, yeah, to me it's like that. You can ask for help, but nobody's going to walk you through this.
Well, like for instance, a big thing that I've been dealing with this month is it's definitely just been loneliness. Like it's just this very consuming feeling of loneliness. Like even when we were at open mic last Monday, I'm surrounded by like 15 of my friends. Like it was a good ass night. Like it was awesome to see everybody hit the stage and just good vibes all around. And just man, I felt so lonely. Like so lonely. Graduation with my sister, our whole family coming by and everything. It's these big gatherings. I feel so lonely. Um, and the times that I'm feeling lonely, it's because I have I don't have a partner anymore. I'm so used to having a partner. So it's exactly what we're talking about here. It's both. I'm so used to having a partner that I have learned how to become an independent person. I've learned how to love myself first and foremost, and take care of that. But I'm to a point where like I want to rock. Like I want somebody to be able to like at the end of the day when we are dealing with all the stress of the Chase and Shep stuff and life and everything, just having somebody at the end of the day to be like, hey, like you're my support. Like we got each other's backs, and I I don't really see it as codependence because I'm like I don't think I like absolutely need it. But like for instance, like today, I took the day for myself, like putting my phone away and everything, because I do recognize that there is a certain level of codependence there where I have become used to having somebody there and I am struggling being alone, you know? Yes, like I've been alone for a while now, but still that doesn't make a difference. Even in the time that I was alone, I still had a roommate, I still had this, I still had that. I was always used to having another person here. And now that it is just me, I have to learn how to just be on my own. So I agree with you. You do have to learn how to be on your own, but you do also have to reach out for help because sometimes you can't be doing that shit. You can't be on your own sometimes. You
Yeah.
gotta have a little help.
But having a partner is not all it is caked up to be. Like,
Well, trust me, I know.
I've spent so much time being by myself and being independent and being on my own. Being, in a committed relationship now is like weird. It's like I'm not used to having somebody wanting my attention and my love and all up in my face all the time. Like, I'm used to, chilling, being in my head, thinking about stuff, figuring out how to conquer the world and, watching TV, eating ice cream and pickles. Like, that is just like, that was just,
That's like the total opposite for you. Yeah.
yeah. So now it's like that's how I feel sometimes. And it's not the person. It's just like,
No, I get it.
even my parents, it's just like, you want me to come over? Okay, for what? Like, I'm so used to being secluded and just doing my own thing and being independent on my own. It's just like, when people are asking of things from me, when it like asking for my time and my involvement and my energy, it's just like, how? Like, it can be really frustrating sometimes, but I also enjoy, like you said, having that support system, knowing that, I can grind all day and I can, come home and I can be secure and I know that I'm not alone and I know that I do kind of have that support. But then have finding the balance, like it also has to do with communication, being able to communicate with him, like, I need my time, I need my space. Even the same thing with my parents, like, I don't want to talk right now, I don't want to tell you what's going on in my life right now.
Boundaries, basically. Yeah. Like
And it's
just
really hard to communicate those things sometimes, but that's, bad on my part, because if you don't communicate it, no one's ever going to know. Now, what they do with that information is up to them and how they choose to react to it, but I said it, and I said it in the best way possible. And that's my other problem, saying things in the best way possible. My mom used to always say, it's not really what you say, it's really how you say it. And I still haven't gotten that. 22 years and I still haven't gotten that. So
my mom ditched that one, and she said, "Don't listen to don't listen to how he says it. Listen to what he says." Like, or
right.
like, gotcha. My father would always come from a good place, but the tone of his voice would always just rub us the wrong way. So it's like that message is going to get lost
Right.
because you sound like a dick. So I'm not listening anymore. You know, but
And that's me. I'm very like blunt, assertive. This is it. This is how I feel. I get how you feel. I get it. But this is me. This is how I feel. And that is just the end of story. Like that. And I battle with myself over that. I just be like, all right, you're a bitch. And then I just be like, but I'm a sincere bitch. And it's just like, finding that happy medium where you don't come off as a bitch to everyone, because everyone tells me that when they first meet me, you're really intimidating, or I feel like, you're bitchy and you have a really bad attitude, which I do, but I don't want people to get that from me before I even open up my mouth.
Right.
I didn't get those vibes the first time we met. So
I'm glad you didn't, because it's hard. It's definitely hard. It's about watching my facial expressions. Like, you see everything I'm thinking on my face. Like, if I think what you're saying is crazy, I'm gonna look crazy. Like, and it's just really trying to control that, and also being more sympathetic and compassionate. I think compassion is the biggest part of it.
definitely, definitely understanding and compassion, I think, are two big factors for sure.
And it's not easy. It's not an overnight thing. Like, it's a lot of it is like shutting your mind off and really listening, like truly listening, not listening to respond, not listening to defend yourself, but truly letting go of that bias and letting go of what you think and what you feel, and trying to understand, all right, I may not have tried to hurt you, but I did anyways, and being able to own up to that and being like, all right, I hurt you, I didn't mean to, I didn't think I did, but it doesn't matter about what I think, it's just about, that's how you feel, and I need to own up to that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, looks like that's our time, but always a fantastic conversation when you stop.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah. It was dope. Sorry I was late, but
no, you're fine. I
All
love
good.
talking to you guys.
Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Yes.
No.
That's it for May. That closes out May.
Oh.
June's going to be a little bit of a crapshoot. Who knows what you might get and when you might get it. We're still working out the details of that so that we can bring you the spectacular Chase and Shep Summer Camp of Horrors, hopefully July 4th. Hopefully, July 4th.
Oh.
So
We're
I'm
still
so
shooting for
excited.
that.
yeah, fingers crossed.
I wish you guys the best of luck in your endeavors. It's a lot of stuff going on, and I know you guys are going to be great.
Thank you very much.
As well.
You're welcome. Alrighty. You guys have a good night.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Smooches and deuces.